And the dumbest bill in America is making courthouses sanctuary spaces. Making courthouses sanctuary spaces. Senate Bill 83, introduced by Senator Julie Gonzales of the state of Colorado, would prohibit federal officials from going onto a courthouse and civilly arresting someone, like someone who is illegally present in the United States. So what does that mean? Let me walk you through this. It means that if someone were to commit a crime and they happen to be an illegal immigrant and they're taken to the courthouse in Colorado and anywhere in the state and they're being processed for the crime that they committed, let's just say they were breaking and entering or they murdered someone, and the individual also happened to be an illegal immigrant, the state of Colorado would obviously prosecute the individual, but House Senate Bill 83, introduced by Senator Julie Gonzales, would not allow the United States government and ICE to come in and sweep this person out and send them back home. So Colorado is basically saying, yes, well, we have a sanctuary space and it's courthouses because, these folks deserve rights too. Well, if they've committed a crime, I'm sorry, and of course, many people out there in podcast land would say the first crime is they came into the country illegally, and of course, then they commit another crime. But they use the term prohibit courthouse civil arrest, which is really a misnomer because they're saying, well, it's a civil arrest for them to be arrested by ICE and basically sent home, deported. But the fact of the matter is the reason why most of these individuals are at the courthouse to begin with is because they committed an actual crime. And the crime was they probably murdered someone, stole something, or what have you. Not something that's that unusual throughout the United States because we have such a large illegal immigrant population. And I will make this really clear to everybody out there in podcast land. Obviously, most illegal immigrants, and we all know this, are not murderers, they're not rapists, they're not out there committing crimes on a daily basis. They want to come here for an opportunity. We want them to come here for opportunity legally. That's what we want them to do. But this bill basically rewards individuals and protects them at the courthouse, which is where they should be swept up and sent back home. Millennial.
So the crux of this bill is really just, I guess, a chess piece in the greater game of how this country deals with immigration.
With illegal immigration.
With illegal immigration.
But also legal immigration.
And legal.
You're right.
It's a form of it too, because I have complaints about legal immigration that causes a lot of the issues with illegal immigration. And I believe that there's a popular belief that an unjust law is no law at all, and that how we deal with immigration is an unjust law, and so that people should just come and sort it out later. And I don't believe that's the case. I believe we have elections for a reason. We elect legislators. Legislators, come to a consensus and they pass a bill.
But think about what this bill does, Garrick. This bill's saying this individual's already at the courthouse in their state because of the fact that they probably did something illegal. Clearly they did, right? Maybe it was something as simple as they got into a car accident or maybe they were driving drunk, which is not simple. Obviously, that's a crime. So they're at the courthouse, and this bill says, well, they're at the courthouse and they're illegal. The courthouse should be a safe space, and therefore they should not be arrested by ICE and deported. So we're going to pass a bill in Colorado to prevent that from happening.
Well, I would say, and to the point that I was making, the offense of being here illegally typically is the first offense that should be adjudicated before we deal with things like, did you commit a crime and do we have to send you to prison or not? If you're here illegally, then you should have gone through the proper channels to enter the country. If not, then we'll send you back.
See, I agree with that. This is what I'm confused about, and I want the millennial point of view on this. The person commits a crime, they go to the courthouse, and basically on the Democrat side, certainly on the Senator Julie Gonzales, who put Senate Bill 83 in Colorado, what she's saying is, well, we should prosecute the person here in the United States, and then we should send them to jail or prison here in the United States, even though they're here illegally. And my argument has been, this has always been very confusing to me about why Democrats think this is okay. My argument was, look, they committed this crime. They're here. They should be thankful they're here, even though they're here illegally. They're committing crimes. Why don't we send them back home and notify the authorities back home about the crime that they committed?
Yeah.
And they can decide
our
whatever
Justice
they,
Department has, communication with, I believe, most countries in the world where we typically deal with things like, extradition and trying people in different courts and things. So it wouldn't be too far-fetched to, send somebody back to a Central or South Asian country and work with their government to ensure that they are prosecuted. But, I also don't enjoy having our tax dollars go to supporting people in an institution
being incarcerated
that are incarcerated, because
very expensive.
Prison is a very expensive means of dealing with crime.
It is.
And so I think that is something that should be considered when we have laws like this.
So imagine if you're this senator, Julie Gonzales, about of all the things you could put in, all the bills you could put in, this is the bill that you put in. I mean, this is the bill that you decide to go for. You're going to protect people at the courthouse.
It's a big national issue.
It is. I mean, we see it in a lot of states. No doubt. That's a great point. There's no doubt about that.
It's about, maneuvering the battle, moving the chess pieces in this bigger national conversation,
And the national conversation the Democrats want to put forward is the
Open
fact
borders.
that they want open borders.
Yeah, they want free movement.
Laws don't matter. Countries don't matter.
A European-style Schengen zone where basically everybody in North and South America are free to walk through every border they want.
They don't think we are an exceptional country, and as Democrats do not think, in my opinion, that America is an exceptional country. They used to, by the way. The old Democrat Party, the Liberal Party, used to believe that America was an exceptional country.
Clips of Obama saying that, we need to enforce our borders and deal with illegal immigration.
And he clearly doesn't believe it.
And Bush and all of them.
None of them believe it anymore.
It's a very interestingly new phenomenon. And it's amazing how many of these old presidents and old senators and people who used to firmly be on that side are now saying, they've changed their tune and say, migration is a human right.
Yeah, it's a human right, open borders, and oh, by the way, even when you're here illegally and you commit a crime, we should still protect you from being deported, which is what this bill does. By the way, Senator Gonzales, Garrick, Senator Gonzales, who put Senate Bill 83 in Colorado, she has a Bachelor of Arts in History, Ethnicity, Race, and Migration from Yale.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah, isn't that incredible?
It must be nice to go to a school that offers a very niche program like that.
Yeah, great niche program that she goes and she studies at Yale and she comes back and tries to change the law in such a way as to say American citizenship is irrelevant, is really what this law is doing. Yeah. It's literally slapping American citizens in the face and saying, you don't matter. The person who committed the crime matters. We actually have a clip on her. We actually one of two clips. But here's the first clip of this senator, Senator Julie Gonzales, when she was running for office. And you can get to hear her platform. This is from Gonzales herself. So listen very carefully about her progressive ideals. And here is the clip.
Hi, my name is Julie Gonzales, and I'm the progressive Democrat running to serve as your state senator in Senate District 34, which includes North, West, and downtown Denver. I've spent my life organizing working people, Latinos, and young people on the issues of affordable housing, educational justice, and immigrant rights, because I believe that if you're not at the table when policy decisions are being made, more than likely it's because you're on the menu.
So, you're not at the table, so you're on the menu? I mean, she went to Yale. I mean really?
That was a nice little soundbite there. I'm sure that played real well for her on Facebook or whatever.
We might use that in the future. You're not on the table, so you're on the menu. So this is the progressive idea. We have a second clip from her, and then we're going to discuss these two clips together with our millennial. Here's a second clip from Senator Julie Gonzales. Here it is.
Over the past decade, I've been directly involved in creating and implementing several progressive policies in our community, such as passing in-state tuition for Colorado Dreamers, creating community benefits agreements that held developers accountable to community demands around local hiring, environmental protections, and affordable housing. I've organized to ensure that all students, regardless of their race or income, received high-quality college preparatory education, and I worked to pass Denver's sanctuary policy to protect immigrant communities from Donald Trump.
Do you see a pattern? Do you see a pattern about Julie Gonzales?
What's the
pattern?
Pretty standard progressive platform right there.
Yeah.
That's about what most of them go for.
Hyper-focused on illegal immigrants.
Yes.
And providing more and more benefits to them.
Incentives.
Instead of actually, serving the citizens of the United States. And by the way, we're not saying that folks that are here illegally can't contribute and shouldn't contribute. That's not the problem. The problem is they're here illegally. So when you present these additional benefits like in-state tuition, it's very insulting and it makes people very angry too, rightfully so.
It's a lot of money, a lot of tax dollars. I mean, one of the things that I believe, and I guess this might be a millennial perspective of mine, is I think it should be easier to come here legally. I think that would make a lot of these issues.
It should be easier for them to come here.
Legally.
Say that again. Legally.
I think that we place a lot of burdens on,
So I got to stop you there. So here's my question for you.
Yes.
All right. There are 1.35 billion people in China.
Yes.
I have no doubt in my mind that 300 million of those individuals would love to come to the United States, and I mean this sincerely. I have no doubt in my mind that they would love to come here. So are you prepared to make it easier so that we can double our population literally in 10 years? It's not sustainable. And that is the issue, right? We have an obligation. We have an obligation to protect our environment. We have an obligation, and obviously it's not sustainable to have a population increase that quickly. And you also have to think about, through immigration I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And you also have to have a reasonable approach and a measured approach. And you also, I think, want to make sure the people that are coming in actually share your values.
But I don't think my point about, making it easier is to say that, that I
300
agree
million?
that we should let in this many people. I think it really just has to be down to how we approach things. Because how do you come here? You need either a travel visa or a work visa or some kind of, permanent status.
But illegal immigrants, of course, are just crossing the border.
They just cross the border.
Yes.
And, I think, and the problem is from my experience and my knowledge of the issue is it takes years to adjudicate a lot of these visa applications for work.
Shouldn't.
And it shouldn't. And that is where I think the problem is like whether, affirmed or denied, it takes 10, 15 years for somebody who's just applying.
Are you talking about for those people who have applied who are not yet here?
Yeah, because a lot of these people that,
they're trying to do it
legal
legally.
Immigrants that are trying to do it legally, they get dejected by the system.
So
their solution is I'm just going to.
So I have a homework assignment. This would be
Yes.
interesting. Homework assignment is, because I don't know the answer to this too, by the way, out there in podcast land. How many people in the world have currently applied,
Yes.
or have at least expressed an interest in coming to the United States of America through the legal channels? I'll bet you it is a massive number. And you do have to ask yourself the question, can we absorb all of those individuals in such a way that they will actually be productive in our society? Are there jobs available for them? Do they have a trade?
I
do
don't
they have
know
a
that
skill?
the number, though, would be as high as we think it would be, because in order to have somebody apply for this visa, there has to be somebody who's a sponsor. There has to be like a job that is solicited or a position that would be opened up to allow somebody to come in.
There's just a difference between being pro-immigration, pro-legal immigration, which I am, and I know you are, and most millennials are, and being applying common sense principles to immigration.
Yeah.
Namely that it needs to be orderly, it needs to be legal.
And I think the debate that you and I are having about how we approach immigration should be the debate that should actually be occurring, not the one that is happening in the national conversation, which is...
Or the one in Colorado.
Yeah, which is either you
Free stuff,
and you should either come here legally, or on the other side, it's, you should not come here at all.
Here is the fundamental issue, among others, the fairness issues, with Senator Julie Gonzales, with her Senate Bill 83, which makes courthouses sanctuary spaces.
Yeah.
The fundamental issue, I think, with this is not just the fairness issue, but when you offer all of these free things and all of these passes and all the benefits,
to come.
Wouldn't you want to come illegally into the United States?
It's
You're
probably
promoting illegal behavior.
It's probably a better deal than coming legally.
Absolutely. It's no question. And that's the last word. That is the dumbest bill in America. This is Mark Fisher for Mark of the Millennials. Thank you for joining Mark of the Millennials. And thank you to our millennial, Garrick Ross. And of course, our assistant producer, Christopher Hopkins, and our producer, Adam Katora. Check us out on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and our website. See you next time.